Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Juma this morning. A rather grey day. We don't have much of a sunrise today because it's pretty overcast, and instead of coming this way, it looks like this cloud is moving in the opposite direction. As you can see in the horizon to southwest of us, very, very low cloud, very dark, very ominous, and I hope that we're not going to get, not for a couple of hours at least, we're not going to get rained on. Can rain between drives as much as at once. My name is Mark. Andrew's with me on camera today. Brian is back in FC, and we had late arrivals last night. Scotty's back, and Alex is back as well. Time to get things stirred up a little bit here at Juma Game Reserve. Try and get 2 vehicles out as soon as we can. Well, we're coming down to Philemon's Dip. We're going to do some loops around Treehouse and Zoe's Road, Rebecca's Road. See what we can find in the way of tracks. Been a lot of elephant around. Pulled up a pipe from, this is the pump house, by the way. This little hut that we see coming through Philemon's Dip is actually where there is a borehole, or a well as it were, and a pump that pumps water to the camp. And well, elephants have pulled up all the pipes, not all, some of. Might have a water problem later today. Not the end of the world. Somebody, I'm sure, will get to fix that. So elephant were around. I think probably the same areas we were watching here late yesterday. Might have gone up towards Gowrie Dam. We're going to try and get there at some point. Overcast day, not really a day for visiting waterholes. Interesting question from Lisa. Thanks, Lisa. If an animal was bitten by a snake and a predator ate it, what would happen? Well, the venom, actually most venom, whether it's a bee sting or a snake bite or a scorpion sting, most venom is protein, a type of protein. So swallowing it doesn't really do any damage. You could swallow venom. There's a Nyala bull. 2 Nyala bulls. Of course, it wouldn't really have a secondary effect once it enters the body of an animal and enters the bloodstream of an animal. It'll eventually break down by the time a predator eats it anyway. But funny enough, I had a friend, although it's safe to swallow venom, I had a friend who had some sores, some abscesses, had some sores in his mouth. And when he got bitten by a snake, he tried to suck the venom out of the bite, and unfortunately the venom entered his bloodstream through these sores in his mouth, and it proved fatal for him. So as long as it can't enter the bloodstream, you can swallow a protein, you can swallow venom quite safely. 3 Nyala bulls. Be nice to one day see them squaring off against each other. But they have what we call a dorsal crest. They've like a mane that runs all the way down their back. That white hair along their back, and they have an ability to raise that hair along the ridge of their back, their dorsal crest, and very impressive. Let me go forward, maybe we can see these two boys pushing at each other. We might just see them. Might just see them do that. No. This is all displacement activity, the kind of what looks like grooming. They want to square off against each other, but both are showing a little bit of restraint, so they engage in displacement behavior, a bit of grooming, a bit of scratching, a bit of displaying. So Andrew, with the woman on both sides of the road, Andrew's got to swing around from one side to the other. Morning, Lisa. Lisa asking quite a... Brian sort of tried to give me a synopsis, a breakdown of what Lisa is asking. Quite a long question, I think, about bomas, about keeping livestock in enclosures at night and lion breaking in. Doesn't really happen much in South Africa. The Maasai and up in East Africa, where there are, hang on, sorry, catching up on the radio. Botswana, I think, maybe, but up in Kenya, Tanzania, it's more there where you have people still living in, well, wildlife and people living in the same areas, especially in Maasai land, and the thorn bomas that they build to keep their livestock safe from lion. Bomas, and it's basically just an enclosure. It can be very heavy tree trunks here, and although we don't really have much of a predator problem, people still do put their cattle away in pens. I guess you could call it a very small paddock, is what it is, but it has to have a fence, or it has to have a wall around it, either made out of thorn bushes or leadwood stumps, big heavy tree stumps, anything that keeps livestock safe and predators out. And every now and then predators get into a boma and kill animals. I'm not too sure what the question is that Lisa's asking though. Okay, let's continue. Leave these three boys to their own devices. Mind the cats. Later, boys. Oh, that's what we were going to do. We're going to go and look for that piece of bone that the kudu was eating. That's another thing we must do later today when we get back up to quarantine. Because I took the steering wheel off yesterday. That's why I put it on the wrong way. There you go. No, I can just turn it around. If I could just find the tool. Yeah, and I was going to turn it over the way it was. Hello, Bill. Morning to Bill in Michigan. I'm trying to read some tracks. Bill's asking, since we go live at 6 o'clock in the morning, what time do we get up and what time do we go to bed? A bit personal, but I don't mind answering that. Not really. Personally, I can only speak for myself. Personally, my alarm goes off at 5. And we pull the vehicle out of the carport at around anyway from between 5:30 and 20 to 6 to load the camera, check the fluids. Wendy is quite thirsty, so she's got to have water before she goes on drive every day, every drive. And today we were lucky. Today we left 10 minutes before 6. So I did a little bit of a drive around quarantine first. And sometimes we leave almost 2 minutes with 2 minutes to go. Sometimes there might be a snag. We're pretty much ready 10 minutes before, but sometimes if we hit the snag or something can delay us, like system crashes and feed from the vehicle. How South Dakota I wants to know if I think that whether I think Mvula would be able to carry one of those Nyala bulls up a tree. I think so. I have a leopard at home, a big male he's not quite as big as Mvula, I don't think. I've seen him with a Nyala bull up a tree, and I've seen Yambilu Yodan, who is Mvula's predecessor and the father of Karula's first 2 sets of cubs, 3 sets of cubs, I think. Seen him up the tree with a Nyala. I think Mvula would be able to handle that. What's that noise? Drongo. Sounded like the yelp of a dog, a wild dog. They have very high-pitched yelps. I don't know if Karula, excuse me, got a bit of a frog today. I don't know if Karula would have the strength. I don't think she's big enough for a big Nyala bull, but she's proven to be capable of taking big Impala rams, taking them down and feeding on them on the ground. Oh, very quiet treehouse dam compared to yesterday with buffalo and elephant and leopard. Marco in New Jersey, how long would it take for an adult giraffe to be subdued by a snake bite? Well, that just opens it up to a depends, Marco. That depends on the snake bites. Giraffe bitten by a snake. Person from Texas, I think MF Jim. which antelope is the most difficult to bring down for a predator? Depends which predator. We'll go through them. First, just want to get back to the giraffe question. I suppose with them, I don't know. I guess black mamba being the most powerful of venoms that a giraffe is likely to succumb to, maybe a cobra. Neurotoxic venoms. I really don't know the answer to that. I couldn't tell. I have no idea. It depends on how much venom is injected, I suppose, to some extent. The thing is that if a giraffe is bitten by a snake and it is found, and it's especially a neurotoxic venom, it affects the nervous system. It's going to go the other way. Not much in the way of tracks down here. And somebody said something about some impala running up on Impala Plains. Might be better to head that direction. What is this? I can't remember what this road is called. I'm only always called a Treehouse Dam Road. Yeah, that's all it really is. Treehouse Road. There's road south. A giraffe on the ground is a little bit, it's a little bit at a disadvantage. And if its head was to be level with its body, if it was to be lying flat, it probably would die of, I don't know, other things before it died of the venom, maybe. Giraffe flat on the ground can die relatively quickly, as far as I'm aware. Once lion get giraffe down, they can get it down. They can pretty much kill it. Antelope is the most difficult for a predator to bring down. We have a bit of a time delay between FC and I, so bear with us with questions this morning. If we start from the beginning, the biggest predator, the lion, the antelope, most difficult for lion to bring down? None, really. I think if we had to think of one-on-one, maybe even then, I've seen lion bring down wildebeest. Kind of a difficult question, because once again, it depends on so many things. I suppose the question is more general, and even a generalized question. Sable is supposedly, big male sable are supposedly difficult for lion. Leopard, anything out of their size range, so anything that's sort of above the nyala would be a little bit big for a leopard. Cheetah, obviously size becomes an issue, and anything bigger than maybe a wildebeest, and even then wildebeest can be quite big for cheetah. They have to invariably, for wildebeest, cheetah would have to hunt in a coalition or hunt as a group, which can and does happen with brothers. Morning, Larry in Orlando. Not sure if I've covered that one about the antelope, but it's sometimes different days. The antelope that might prove difficult one day might be easier another day. Different individuals. It's not an easy question to answer, that one about which antelope is the most difficult. I'll think of it. I'll think on that one. I'll try and work it out in my head. Larry wanted to know if leopard eat part of the carcass to lighten the load to take the carcass up a tree. What they are notorious for doing, if they have the chance, is disemboweling their prey and burying the contents, the stomach contents. That tends to lighten the load a little bit. The thing is, Larry, it's difficult sometimes for them to do that because there are times when, as they kill something, just the noise of the alarm calls and maybe the noise of the animal dying is enough to bring other predators running, because everything knows the sound of alarming and the sound of dying creatures. And so hyena, lion, maybe even other leopard are likely to come along and steal their prey. So sometimes I've seen leopard in the past. I've been with leopard on leopard kills when they've taken down an impala and the impala's still kicking, they're still throttling it, they're still strangling it, and got it by the throat, and the hyena are there almost immediately because the hyena had been close by, and leopard shooting up a tree with an impala still kicking, no time to do anything. But we also noticed here quite a lot, and I've seen it at home as well in Timbavati, when leopard during the day, sometimes during the day it's the least likely time when they're going to be disturbed by any other predator, and they don't even take their prey up a tree, they just eat it on the ground. There's no threat. So yes, I guess final answer to that question is that sometimes they do have part of the carcass, or they do lighten the load of the carcass to get it up a tree. Not always. It's not one of those things with leopards. One of those things that every time it can be different. Circumstances are different. The size of the animal, the competition from other predators. Anything besides marula that is harvested to make liquor? Not that I know of. Sarah, that's Sarah in California. Morning, Sarah. Not that I know of. Other than, of course, the usual fruits in the agricultural sector, where we do have a large fruit growing community in this country, fruit farms. Obviously the climate dictates which type of fruits. Here in Hoedspruit, it's very much a mango part of the world. Down in the Cape, where the apples and the pears are, the oranges here too. A lot of citrus here as well as mango. But no, indigenous fruits, no. Only the marula, really. Although they're not really harvested that much in the wild. Local people do harvest marulas for marula beer, but there are enough marula trees outside the reserve that nobody needs to really harvest them inside the reserve. In any case, they belong to the elephants and the kudu and baboons. the fruits, I mean, and the trees in the reserve. Shedded skin from a snake. Obviously used those thorns to pull it off like a stocking. Looks like the head's further down the little twig, down the branch, where the skin started to be peeled off. Clancy, morning Clancy. Ohio. What was that now, Clancy? Forgot to read. What was Clancy's question? I forgot. Fine. Help. 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 Just remind me Clancy's question, if you can find it, please. Sharon wanted to know, do animals give birth during dry season? Right, that's what it was. Some animals do, Clancy. There's some animals that don't have specific seasons. Dogs tend to have pups in dry season. See how my brain is not going to do this, well, not going to do me proud this morning. Sharon was asking, Hyena Mom, do they share responsibilities? Does a babysitter stay behind while Mom goes and hunts? Yes, very much, Sharon. Normally find a younger individual staying at the den when the adults are all out hunting or scavenging. see that dark cloud not hanging around anymore.
Well, it's just a tree right here.
A woodpecker, Andrew says. Morning, Marianne in Boston. And Marianne was asking if I think that was maybe a vine snake skin. And Marianne has heard that they're very venomous. Quite so, Marianne. One of the most venomous.
This dragonfly stuck on the wood. Up here on the left.
Up there on the left.
Kind of strange.
Oh yeah, and it's a bark spider and she's still alive, the dragonfly, but tiring slowly. Unless it's wind movement. I'm going to bark spider. If we just go back a little bit as we. I don't know if we're going to try and get it, but it's getting quite vigorous. Two trees that are easily 15, maybe 20 feet apart. And this web, the bulk of this web is easily 12 feet high. Excuse me, sorry, that was almost at the microphone. Okay, I'm going to stand up, and the spider's not going to come for it now. Very stable. I wanted to talk to it and it flew away. I was hoping I would be able to show you. Ding! Quite incredible. Quite strong silk. Not as strong as golden orb. In fact, if we had to come past here this evening, we'd probably find her building a new web for tonight's catch. Oh, dragonfly lives another day. Bird could have taken it. Dragonflies are interesting because of the, they're such ancient creatures. I think historically in fossil records there were dragonflies with 6 foot wingspan millions of years ago. hang on, before they're talking and take all morning to wait for these guys to finish conversations. Need to talk on the radio. Dragonflies, yes, extremely fast flying animals, and insects that are able to feed on the wing. They hunt on the wing and they feed on the wing. And there goes a European roller. And another one. Being chased. Their legs are shaped in such a way that they can actually, or rather, as they catch things, their legs automatically hold the prey at their mouth, so they don't have to catch things and then physically move parts of their body so that they can feed. So as they catch things, the food is right there at their mouth and they can fly and function. Without having to stop. Hello, wildebeest. Wild beast. I'm just going to check on Gary Main quickly. We'll come back to these wildebeest. See what tracks they are. Yeah. Still haven't found any sign of Karula. Aha, there's leopard. Hey Rita, in Joburg. I've noticed there aren't any crocodiles in any of the dams. It looks like it could have been on Bula's tracks heading south. Rita wanting to know why there aren't any crocodiles, or are there any crocodiles? Notice that we haven't seen any crocs in any of the dams. How come? Or are there? Sometimes, Rita, when we've had very heavy rains and the riverbeds flow, because there are crocodiles in some of the bigger dams on other properties, but not here on Juma. There has been in the past, and that Mulwati River, where Gowrie Dam is, Gowrie Dam and Twin Dams on the same dry riverbed system, and between the two of them there has been or have been crocodiles visiting when those rivers flow after severe flooding, but not this season. We haven't had heavy enough rain to get the Mulwati flowing nicely, to get the catfish moving up the rivers. No leopard tracks here.
I saw some tracks there, those hyenas.
Coming this way. This leopard was coming from the Rebecca's, and he must have come out here somewhere. Yeah, there he goes. Come out here. Morning stations, Mark here. There was some in Yorni east of Treehouse on Treehouse Road, and Konzo for Madode Ingwe coming on to Gowrie Main from Rebecca's. Not working now. Andrew, do you copy? Sounds like the repeater's not working. Not working. Very well. So, Gula might have been, came down this way. Or it could have been, what was his name? That other big male from this area. Morning, Joan in Michigan. Have we ever encountered any parasitic wasps? And do we have any carnivorous plants? Yes, Joan, morning to you. Yes and yes. The parasitic wasps, well, we actually get more than just parasitic. We get parasitic wasps. Excuse me, looking at the ground, and I'm trying to find tracks of this leopard. We have parasitic wasps and super parasitic wasps. We talked about wasps in a bit. Carnivorous plants in South Africa, we get just the sundew plant in the Cape. It has sticky tendrils that insects stick to, and it feeds on them. Like it came this way at all. Let's try Arathusa, see if he maybe went somewhere down this way, up towards the airstrip maybe. The problem with viewing wasps are that they move very, very fast. With a fixed camera on the vehicle, it's very difficult to get to see or to zoom in on especially some of the smaller parasitic wasps would be almost impossible. And maybe the only time we can really get to see them is if I find dead individuals, or if we have one on a little leaf that is at sort of eye level that we can get close enough to. And I'll certainly try it, because they are very interesting creatures, very interesting lifestyle, or rather not lifestyle, but life cycle. Leopard didn't come this way, but maybe we'll find signs of where he did go. course, the super parasitic wasps are so tiny, you have to have it 1 millimeter long. You have to have it on the dashboard. But any signs that I find of parasitic wasps, I'll certainly show you, tell you about them if I can. Marulas on the ground with elephant tracks. There have been elephant, yeah. From Alaska, from a special part of the world. Morning, Heather. Nice to hear from you. Asking about bark spiders. They look pretty big. They are. The large bark spiders that can spin webs between two trees 20 feet apart, 10 feet in the air. They are fairly large spiders. They can be about 2 inches maybe in diameter. And as the name suggests, they look very much like the bark that they sit on during the day. So if I found another bark spider, see, that was too high and too far apart. But if I find the remnants of another bark spider, especially since we had the right conditions yesterday, lovely hot, humid conditions, which are favorable for insects flying around, which means that if there are insects flying around, then there got to be spiders out to catch them. And quite possible that there might still be the odd bark spider web. Ordinarily they break the web down in the morning and they normally reel in most of the silk and all the insects that they might have caught, like a fishing line. Morning, kingfisher. You see him mouthed good morning. What did you catch? Dived into the grass at the bottom of this marula tree and off he goes. I think he missed. But if you follow the main strand, the main horizontal strand on a bark spider's web, you might be lucky enough to find the spider itself. And it's almost impossible to notice it sitting on a branch because it looks exactly like the bark. Some of the bark spiders have these ornate sort of horn-shaped things that look like thorns. Extremely well camouflaged during the day. Hey, Mr. Kudu. Where are you running to? Gwendolyn. Morning, Gwendolyn. Here comes another big bull. Oh, he's running away. These are not our bulls because these are shy bulls. Not like this is Zarathusa, by the way. I'm going to see a third kudu bull further up ahead. Let's see, because that one's hiding behind the quarry. Let's see if we can catch up with this third monster. He's not such a big one. Gwendolyn wants to know about the red and black butterfly. Well, I didn't get to it yesterday, Gwendolyn, but I can play with my book now while we stop and look at a kudu. Red and black. That particular red and black. Many other red and blacks. Acrias wasn't an acria. Let me go forward. Kudu bulls hiding. We carry on. There's a leopard. There's a leopard. Wasn't a Paraxes, but it was way too big for a Paraxes. See, now this might be a spot where some tracks might be picked up. Commodores. No, nothing here. Well, since we came this way, let's go and have a look at the airstrip. Similar to the orange banded protea. Oops. But no, not an orange banded protea. You see, this one didn't have very symmetrical markings coming up the wing. These are all the small little blues and all these small butterflies. There, that's who it is. Common scarlet, Axiocerces. Chawani, definitely that one. Rapid darting flight, male often at hilltops, bare twigs. Blah de blah de blah. That is what it is. Common scarlet. Now I know. Now we all know. Thanks, Genevieve. Here we go. Common scarlet. Blue butterfly for me. I'll read up more about it. Axiocerces. What other kind of nuts are there? Gosh. Apart from the marula. Theodora, morning to you, Theodora. What other kind of nuts are there? Well, I suppose if we can classify a nut as the dicotyledon of the seed. And I suppose marulas are pretty much it. And there are seeds inside nuts, well, I don't know what defines a nut. An N, a nut. Where does the line get drawn? Where does between, if I was to take a buffalo thorn seed, which is a nut, which is a kind of like a nut, it's like a stone rather, And if I had to break it open, which is not very easy because they're extremely hard, same as like a raisin bush, very difficult to get into. But if I was to take the seed out of that stone, could we call it a nut? Even if it's a tiny little flat seed, would it be called a seed or would it be called a nut? That is the question. To be a nut, to be I think what else would be called a nut? I suppose also like the Balanites fruit, got stone around the seed inside, and you have to break it open to get it. Was that what a nut is? There's a brown snake eagle. A better view of him or her. Hard to tell. Hard to tell with these brown snake eagles. Unless they're standing together. A lot of eagles can be quite difficult to tell the difference between male and female. Bateleur, of course, is different because they have dimorphism, sexual dimorphism in Bateleur snake eagles, but not in a brown snake eagle. Most eagles, the female is larger than the male, so it's easier to tell when they are together.
Just want to grab my telephone key.
Oh, did you drop it? Like a blankie. Your pillow. Hmm? Is it like a blankie?
Yeah.
I imagine it must be... I haven't sat in the back of the vehicle on that side of things for a long time. But I imagine it must get quite hard on the back. Somebody asked me about jumping spiders and what a jumping spider nest or web looks like. Here we go. A while ago. Yeah, on this leaf. Don't know if she'll be in there. Looks like it's been used. Looks like it's no longer in use. It's being used by an ant. Can you see it there? I mean, can you see into it?
Oh yeah.
Come on out, come on out. There's a baby marula tree. I got a marula tree at home that's that size and it's probably more than 12 years old. Just never gets any bigger. Oh, there's another jumping spider nest. That one's being used. See, that one has been torn open. My guess is that either a wasp or something got in there to damage that spider. If we look at this one, is that not too close to the car?
It's okay.
Okay, let me go and have a look at this one. Oh yeah. She's in there. The entrance is right at the bottom. The bottom here. And she's in there. Right up at the top. So she's folded leaves over and she's made a nice little sack. Now they don't live in there permanently. That is the egg. That's where she's going to have her eggs. Males don't do that. That is only the female jumping spider. It's only that particular species. Hundreds of different types of jumping spiders. But for this particular one, it's quite a large brown and white species, quite hairy. And she'll stay in there while the eggs are incubating to protect them, especially from parasitic wasps. So it's not all year round. It's only now towards the end of the season that you find these things. Interesting question from Kansas. Morning, Brandy. Do the antelope, wildebeest and buffalo and other animals, do they grow winter coats? I think in some places, Brandy, there are vastly different climates throughout Africa. Here where we don't get that cold, I'm not too sure. I don't think so. Maybe they do. Maybe. But I would think that in some places like the Kalahari or some places up in where either altitude or topography or other conditions result in very cold temperatures during the winter months, the dry season, I think there maybe they do. But I really don't know the answer to that, I'm afraid. Whether their coats get thicker or not. Look how dry this is all looking. This is how things should look at the end of April. In fact, even in May, rather. Everything should still be green into April. Maybe we're hitting the drought this year. We've been very lucky for the last, I don't know, more than a decade. It's been a long time since the drought in this part of the world hit hard. To the jackal that used to live here. Dina, morning Dina. Dina's in Michigan. Do hyena regurgitate food for their pups like dogs? I'm not even sure. Not that I know of, come to think of it. I can't think if I've ever seen hyena at a den regurgitating food. From a young age they'll be taken out to food. Sometimes things are brought back to the den. Or brought back close to the den. I don't think so. I must look in. No sign of these jackals. No sign much. all. It's not very straight, but we'll get back to our the train. Try copy. Oh. It's alive! Welcome to WildEarth, everybody. Welcome to our morning safari. What are you shouting at, squirrel? There's this cat still on the road up ahead. And I'm dawdling, looking at tracks. Which way did he go? Oh, like something maybe went that way. We can't really go that way. And nothing that way. Fair call, Jennifer in Toronto. Fair call. Why do I think it's okay to interfere with insects and not other animals? I don't know. I don't know. You mean like turning that beetle over, that one that was on its back? I turned over a tortoise that was on its back, the one that had been chewed by a lioness that one day. That was interfering with the bigger animal. And I released a dragonfly from a spider's web today, but that's because I wanted to show you what a dragonfly does, how well they're constructed by nature. I still think there's something in here because the squirrel's shouting and the tracks don't come out here. But whatever it is, it's so far in and we're not allowed to go there, so let me just go back a little more and see. Mamba, black mamba. What are the mamba's main prey? Tim. Chameleons. Oh shit! Didn't expect to see that, did we? Big box truck. Big box truck. Must have been to the gate and back. Must be doing a delivery. Big box, huh? So, Mamba's main prey. I know that they go for chameleons a lot. And what else? Squirrels. Probably. Lizards. Baby birds. Hello, Kuko. What are you skulking for? The other rodents that mambas might get. I think mambas are predominantly arboreal. I suppose they do spend a fair amount of time on the ground. Rodents, reptiles, maybe some birds. Very too bad. The other way. So we've been looking at rhinoceros beetles of late, and I happened to read an article yesterday about rhinoceros beetles becoming a problem on the island of Guam. There's an eradication program affecting palm and other plantations. That really done a little bit of pressure, but been driven over a few times already. Interesting, I didn't know that rhinoceros beetles were a problem on Guam until they appeared in the news. And I even brought a special rhinoceros beetle today. For Guam. Guam. How do you pronounce Guam? Yes, that's right. radio is very quiet this morning. Other vehicles, other lodges, other game drive. Compared to yesterday, it was a hub of activity. In one day, there were 6 different leopards between all the lodges, probably maybe one or two more. But 6 that I know of. There was Kula and Kulula. There was Kanyeni and her cub, I think, and then another male that was there with them. And I think Kunyuma. I think who the 6th one was. Morning to BJ in Pennsylvania. BJ is asking about lizards. Apart from the 2 monitor lizard species that we have the Nile monitor, also known as the water monitor. We have the white throat monitor, also known as the rock or tree monitor. BJ wants to know if we have any other large lizards in South Africa. We do indeed. We don't have any other more. We don't have any other monitor lizard species, but we do. The next biggest lizards, I suppose, are the plated lizards. The giant plated lizard and the tawny plated lizard, the rough-scaled plated lizard, and the yellow-throated plated lizard. Although the tawny plated and the giant plated lizards tend to mostly only live on rocky areas because they live in rock crevices and mountainous areas. Plated lizards are quite habitat specific actually. We get yellow-throated plated lizards here in the grasslands. We sometimes are lucky enough to see one disappearing in a termite mound, and there are also rough-scaled plated lizards here that might live on termitaria. But other than that, in this part of the world, the other fairly large lizard are the triagamas. Blue-headed triagama. It's not quite as big as the plated lizards. And then you get very long lizards, the legless lizards, some of the grass lizards that are very, very long. They almost look like snakes. Their tails are sometimes twice the length of their body. Some of them also known as seps, S-E-P-S, seps. We saw... Who was it that was eating a plated lizard the other day? It was a Wahlberg, though. Or, I can't remember. Who was eating a plated lizard?
Oh, yeah, I think it was the Wahlbergs.
I think it was the Wahlbergs. One of the reasons why the radio is so quiet is because the repeater's down, the radio repeater. Morning, Joan. Morning, wildebeest. I wonder where she should have a calf somewhere. Maybe she's lost her calf. I wonder who these two are. If they're part of our crew. And see, she's still lactating, so it should be a calf. And then I don't know where he comes from. Maybe that they've been split up from the rest of the herd. Who knows? Push me, pull you. I think that was Dr. Doolittle, the push me, pull you. Joan was saying that there's a reduction in the numbers of monarch butterflies in North America, mostly due to pesticides. Do we have a problem with pesticides in this country? Oh yes, we do. Pesticides and chemical leaks from mines. She's gonna lie down again. But I want to go that way, Mrs. Wildebeest. Not today. I don't think it's done any damage to our monarch population. Our monarchs in South Africa, or in Africa for that matter, are not migratory, so they don't collect in large numbers. So that you get I guess that's one of the reasons why you maybe have a population crash in North America, because of the migratory habits of the monarch there. They collect in such big numbers. Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Just want to come past. So, mister, good morning. Gonna rub your horns on the tree for me. That's his leg, that's his midden there. Part of it at any rate. Also an impala midden. Must be a very important spot. The bird is that, I wasn't listening to a bird calling. which some people want to know. I still want to go that way, wildebeest. I want to go that way also. I want to go there. Okay, I'll go this way. I'll leave you two alone. Bonnie, I think right now, get back to that question. That was wildfires. Do we have wildfires? Well, and if we do, who fights them, and do animals get caught up? Occasionally we do get wildfires. This was an area that was burnt last winter. I don't know whether it was an accidental or an intentional burn. You do get intentional burns. You get areas that are burnt for various ecological reasons. Fires are part of the environment, so I suppose a wildfire is more or less a natural event. The environment, the habitat, the vegetation, everything learns, because everything is able to cope with fire. There are obviously different intensities of fire, and obviously at different times of the year fires can do different types of damage. You get very hot fires that can burn on a hot day, fires that burn with a good wind on a hot day can be very, very hot, and they can take out even large trees. I've seen places where fires have felled green trees because the heat is so intense that it dries out the base of the tree before the fire gets there, and then of course it's hot enough for that drier wood then to ignite. The crown is still green, but the tree is felled, completely burnt at the base. You get cool fires that might burn early morning. They can move swiftly enough through the grassland that only the grasses burn. And so because of these different results, the different end result from different intensities of fire, different can be used as a tool for different purposes. So sometimes when you want to get rid of encroaching bushveld, you want a hot fire to get rid of the encroaching bush. Sometimes a landowner might just want to get rid of dry moribund grasses that are strangling the new growth from coming through. And invariably you might find that old veld like that, old grassland like that, might have a very high tick load, so you might find somebody might want to do a burn for that. And of course it's very important what time of the year that happens in terms of intentional burns. But the wildfires, fires, unintentional, accidental fires that might come into the reserve, well, normally it's all the guides and staff at the lodges that will try and fight these fires. If they come through at the wrong time of the year, they can be quite detrimental to the environment. You see, if you're using fire as a tool, you can time your fire with the rains, and you can make sure that you're not really leaving the burnt area for too long before regeneration can occur. And so fires that come out, untimely fires that come out or come through into the reserve from outside the reserve, can actually damage the environment. And yes, unfortunately there are a lot of things that get caught in the fire. You get scavengers that will even move around with the fire. There's certain birds that you can see walking through the smoldering ashes. Hey squirrel, got a marula nut. You want to show us how you open it? Or you're going to bury it? You're going to hide it in a hole in a tree? You're just going to disappear with it? Oh yeah, it's going to try and eat it. Where are you going with it? back on the ground, and no, I reckon it's probably going to hide it. Oh, nuts. Pretty cloud. Vast areas like Kruger, when there are fires, there are a lot of animals. Animals, I think, have an instinctive reaction to fire, or are able to react instinctively to fire. Go back past the On the other hand, there are some reserves that are self-contained reserves, fences all around, relatively small areas, and even maybe something as big as 30,000 hectares, maybe 70,000 acres. Even an area that large can be affected greatly by a fire. So it's far more intensive, far more critical that self-contained areas have proper fire breaks and have proper firefighting equipment. In fact, most lodges have all got, even here in Kruger, most of the lodges have got firefighting equipment, beaters and bowsers, water bowsers with water pumps to be able to pump water that can be dropped on the back of a pickup, or they're already set up on a trailer ready to go at a moment's notice. But self-contained reserves, obviously there's nowhere for animals to go, and they can get caught against fences and they can get caught in fire. We had an incident 2 years ago in the Pilanesberg National Park, and well, it is kind of a fenced-in park, but it's as big as it is, and it is very big. Pilanesberg is actually this giant volcano crater, and there were a number of elephants that got very badly burned, amongst other things. Nancy, sounds like Nancy from Reno, Nevada, if I'm not mistaken. Nancy's asking about, also relating to fire, Nancy's asking about the leadwood trees, that when there are fires, leadwood trees can burn for months on end. Can I elaborate? Oh, hello heron. Sorry, heron. He's having a peaceful day fishing at the dam, and Mark comes along. Some jasmine flowers coming out. I noticed here's some more here. We don't have to get those. We can get some here next to the weaver's nests. See how brown all the weaver nests are. They've all finished being used. Little white flowers of the star jasmine. My flower for the ladies. Can't really see them too well, but okay. Head down the track path we were headed yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, early this morning. And I decided to turn around, and we ended up going through the airstrip. Leadwood trees are probably the densest wood you will find in Africa. I don't think there is any wood that is denser. It is so dense, so heavy that it sinks in water. It's very difficult to work with just normal tools. Normally you need specially hardened tools to work with leadwood if you're going to work with leadwood. Also, it's very hard to come by because it was used so extensively in the past. And nowadays it's almost illegal. Well, it's illegal to collect leadwood in the wild now. But when a leadwood tree stump burns, it can smolder because the heat is so intense and the wood is so dense that the coals last a very, very long time. But also that it can just keep smoldering, it can just keep burning, sometimes for a couple of months. Not necessarily flame, but just the coals. Just the wood itself. Smoldering isn't the right word, I suppose. Hot glowing coals. It's hard to explain it. So which way do we go on Weaver's Nest? That way or this way? Maybe that way or this way. I can't make up my mind. This way. Sounds like nothing came of those Impala that were racing around, running around on Impala plains. Blair in Vancouver. Nearest town, how close? And do we get mail delivered here or do we have to go to town for mail? Various towns, villages. Towns versus villages. Elephant tracks. I suppose the nearest town is Hluvukani, which is about 30 kilometers away. No, not that far. 20 kilometers, maybe. Not very much in Hluvukani. I used to have a mailbox in Hluvukani at the post office. I used to get mail there. We don't really get, since we're only here for a short period of time here at Djuma, we don't really get mail there. There's nothing really needs to be sent here. So everybody, I suppose, that comes here for the duration of what we're doing, we all have our own mailboxes. My mailbox is in Hoedspruit. Acornhoek is then the next closest town after Hluvukani. Quite a bad road getting there with a lot of potholes. Are the potholes still bad?
Yeah, terrible.
You can't drive in a straight line. Really shocking how the municipal and government powers that be have let that road so shocking. And it's a main artery to the Sabi Sand. It's also a main, it's a road. There are many communities that depend on it, and of course very poor communities at that. Acornhoek is another 30 kilometers after Hluvukani, and then another 30 kilometers after Acornhoek is Hoedspruit, which is about 80 kilometers from here. And Hoedspruit, I suppose, Hoedspruit and Acornhoek about the same size. My mailbox is now in Hoedspruit, because I live closer to Hoedspruit now. Because when we were here at Djuma, that I had a mailbox in Hluvukani. But I don't really get much in the mail other than bills and my meds. And I mainly have a mailbox so that I can have my chronic meds sent to me. Speaking of which, I've got to try and figure out how I'm going to get them from Hoedspruit to here in the next day or two. I don't know how that's going to work out. Fortunately able to get 3 months at a time this time around. And we have our food delivered, comes from Hoedspruit, from a supermarket chain in Hoedspruit that delivers. Brian does the orders every Monday and we get a delivery every Tuesday. Rosalie. Now Brian, I'm afraid I have to repeat that. What type of jasmine was Rosalie asking about? Looks like I'm puzzled. The leopard tracks are going to dams, by the way. Looks like the ruler's tracks. Confederate jasmine. I haven't any idea what Confederate jasmine is. I'm assuming it's jasmine family. The confusion that can be caused by common names is endless. We saw it a little while ago. I was asked about resurrection plant, and it turns out there are like 3-4 different types of resurrection plant, none of which are related, all of which look completely different to each other. And it turns out the one that was being spoken of is one particular ancient, almost moss type plant. But we found that there's a resurrection plant in South Africa that's nothing like that. It's actually just a normal flower. And there's the resurrection lilies that came out of that, which are almost like our March lilies. Common names, it's impossible to compare plants based on common names alone. One of the reasons why botanical names or scientific names are so important in the world, or in my world, because there can be no mistake when we speak of botanical names. Why everything is given two names, their genus and their species name. So what I'm guessing is that maybe your Confederate jasmine might be the same family as our jasmine, and it might even be the same genus as our jasmine, but it might, and is most likely, a different species of jasmine. So I need to go and have a reminder in my book. This jasmine is known as jasminium. Jasminium. I'll have a look now to see. Oh, somebody's having coffee. I guess we'll just have to turn around and go the other way. I don't want to disturb him. I just want to see if these leopard tracks. Looking like it. Kingfisher. This cloud's getting quite heavy, quite low. We get a few types of jasmine here. This is the jasmine creeper, star jasmine. I think it's got about a 7-petal jasmine. Interesting, Genevieve. The adrenaline rush in animals, does it vary between males and females, or is this the self-preservation instinct so strong it doesn't really matter? I don't even know how to begin to answer that one, Jennifer. I can't imagine. Well, I suppose I can imagine that male and female act somewhat differently. I can imagine that we react differently. I can't imagine that. I really did. How would one measure that? That is an interesting concept. We're talking adrenaline rushes, obviously speaking of the moment they're being chased, or from that moment that predator begins the hunt, and they're alarming and they're running away, and that adrenaline rush. And it never occurred to me to think of how that adrenaline rush is related to that need to get away, or that self-preservation instinct, that need to survive, and whether it is are we speaking of in the clutches and the jaws of the predator, or just running away? I'm a little bit not quite sure what you mean there, but there is an adrenaline rush, there is a spark, and of course it's all that adrenaline that dulls the pain when something is happening, when something extremely traumatic is happening. I really don't know how one would be able to measure the difference between males and females, and I don't know how one would do that. Sorry. Backwards, forwards, backwards and forwards. What's that? Yes, the tree. Still get into the drainage line from here. See if we can find some sign of that cat. Morning, Jackie. Pittsburgh. Do we have plants similar to poison ivy? There's a spider. There is a plant here, not as bad as poison ivy. In the summer months you do get a small plant that has a leaf that stings, but doesn't last for very long. Have anything as bad as poison ivy or poison oak here in this. And I remember in East Africa there was a plant on Mafia Island. I was chasing after a Zanj elephant root, not chasing after it, but I was trying to get a view of it. It was the first time I'd ever seen it. One of the incredible new animals for me to see, and I was trying to get a look at it. And being a tropical island paradise, I was just in a pair of shorts, barefoot, no shirt. I walked through not knowing, because there were a lot of plants on the island I didn't know about. So not knowing what it was, I just walked straight through it, and of course I got it all over my body. I don't know how it would compare with poison ivy. It seems like the elephants have been very busy in the riverbed. Most of the night. Yeah, kitty. Where did you go, cat? remains of a dove killed by something. All that remains. Feathers. Hello, Mr. Kuru. Two bulls. Okay, not great view of Kuru. I'll carry on. Continue. Find an elephant if we can, or something. These areas seem to have all gone that way. Mating rituals of elephants. Since elephants are so social, do they have any particular mating ritual or dance? Who is that from? Brenda?
I think so.
Not really, no. See, I suppose there has to be a fair amount of sweet talking by the bull, but what happens is when a female is in estrus, whether it's the matriarch or one of the cows within her herd, there are obviously telltale signs. There are hormones and scents that are picked up in the urine of the bull, and I suppose as well as in temporal secretions that might occur. Signs that tell bulls they're female in estrus, they'll pick that up, and so they will then, I suppose, communicate verbally, vocally, with the females, especially the matriarch, and in the process get closer to her, and then it's up to the matriarch whether she allows the bull to come in and mate or not. I suppose the closest we can get to a ritual, as it were, is the laying of the trunk of the bull along the spine of the cow before he mounts her to subdue her, or to calm her, or to caress her, or to hold her. But there isn't really a special mating ritual, other than, I guess, a lot of symbolizing and interaction with just the and stuff. See it well.
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it.
Yeah.
Morning, Sherry. Ohio. Somebody wants to know about elephant toenails. Do they grow continually like as humans, as ours do? Pretty much, same as hooves. Hooves are also toenails, hooves on other animals. Claws on cats and dogs. You see, being the keratin that they are, and if we didn't live the kind of life that if we were scratching around for food and scratching on bark, our nails would get really torn and broken. And so one of the reasons why nature has made it that they're continually growing, because in the day-to-day world that you live in the wild, as an elephant or an antelope or whatever, that very part of your body wears away fairly fast. So nature says, well, let's just make it continue growing, so that as you wear down, so it rejuvenates, vanishes. Elephants use their toenails, their toes, their feet a lot, scuffing things. They often also scuff their feet when they walk. So their toenails are constantly being worn down, so they are constantly growing. As is the foot. If toenails didn't grow on an elephant, then you'd have these tiny little toenails on a big elephant. The foot grows considerably throughout an elephant's life. You can almost gauge the age of an elephant by the size of the foot, because there's a consistent growth rate, there's a consistent in relation to the size, or in relation to the size of the elephant. Today seems like one of those days that everything is hiding except kudu. Pardon? Except elephants and kudu. They're all heading down to the riverbed. Hello, Ellies. Maybe we can get in there. Maybe we'll see who's here first. Here's a youngster. Morning, children. All of those footprints in the dry riverbed, I think this is the herd that's been there. But if we can only just get to see them, let's see if we go a little further. Might be a track that takes us down to the riverbed. They're slowly making their way along this thicket. This is all the riparian thicket on the edge of the Milwaukee River that leads up to Gowrie Dam. So my guess is that eventually they're all going to end up there later this morning. But I think it's a little bit far away, and they're moving rather slowly to hope that they're going to get there anytime soon. Try this track, try and get down into the riverbed, but I don't know. they're still too far south. Maybe we can find them. Big wallow here. There's buffalo. Are you stuck, buffalo, or are you sleeping? No, he's sleeping. You can see an ear moving. Interesting to see if the elephants come along. I wonder if he is stuck. I don't think these are as deep as... I think he's probably just lying down. Places like this that I've seen in East Africa that get very deep, you can get an elephant stuck up to its shoulders and then there's no getting out, and there's no way of getting anything in there. Oh, by the way, just quickly, the squirrels, look at chewing on what is he eating there? Marula nut? It's chewing the fruit off first to get to the stone. Be nice if we can have the ellies come this way. You can almost hear that squirrel going yum 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 yum. Let's just go back a little bit. Morning, Mr. Buff. It'd be really nice to see if you could move a little bit. Although there's nothing I'm going to be able to do. What you doing now, squirrel? Found another one. Okay, let's try and get down into the river. We can find Nelly. See, do we get down there next to that jackalberry maybe? I don't think so. I think it's further back. That little squirrel. I remember the Majingilan sleeping here one day, Tara and I watching them. We'll have to come back and have a look at this wallow later, or okay. Hello Brenda, following up on elephant mating. What happens if a matriarch and another female is any good? They both need to be covered, and matriarch to say, really sure Brenda, it's I think as I say, hold off younger bulls of older bulls. See, I wonder if we can get through this Tambuti. Maybe that side. Try not to touch the leaves too much, because if they break it, it'll be latex. It's poison. Tambuti. Like that, because you get the milk on your hand and now you watch them. So if you eat anything, you're going to get the runs. If you eat anything with your hand, you can find the ellies down this way. Whoa! Holes in the sand. If there are two females in estrus with the same arm, which can happen, does happen, I'm not really sure how the matriarch deals with that, to be honest. I guess things happen differently at different times depending on how many bulls are around, whether there are suitors, whether there are eligible bulls for mating. Maybe only one bull is allowed in and mates with both of them. I'm really not sure, I'm afraid. It should be here somewhere nearby. Sedge grasses. Okay. Don't think we're going to get to see them from here. I can hear them. Nothing. brown-hooded kingfisher straight ahead. Oh, it's gone. Holes here being dug by elephants or set for water. Gotta try and avoid them because they might get a bit deep for the wheels. But I don't know, these areas tucked in this bush between here and Twin Dams Road. Quite an elephant path over here. We've either got to get ourselves... Oh, there's a marabou stalk. Haven't seen one of those in a long time. See, it's going to come over this way maybe. Oh, come on, don't turn there. And the biggest, heaviest stalks. What is he doing? Marabou. Morning, go. Now we got to try and get out of here. Seems to find my way to these alleys from here. Might have to go all the way back. Whoa, see, that is what we don't want. Uh-oh. And once again, come on to this side as much as you can, like we're in a yacht. Otherwise I'm going to have to maybe just try and, you're going to have to get off. Yeah. I can try, but I'm going to see if I can't maybe just shoot forward. Okay, I'm going to get off because it's going to bounce probably. That is a big hole. No, we didn't. No, I don't think that was where we got stuck. We got stuck in that one dead-end spot where there's... We didn't get stuck, we got waylaid.
I don't know how we got out of there.
Was this one?
Yeah.
Just had to use momentum. But that was an exceptionally deep hole. We might have to get a helicopter in to get us out of here now. Or I'll find my way around that hole. I'll have to find my way around that wall somehow. Well, nothing like a bit of excitement every now and then. I can go around this way. I'm going to show everybody that. I don't know if you can't really see it from here, but that's the hole that the front left went into. And we had to, and we're lucky we have the articulation and short wheelbase of this vehicle to be able to get out of that one. Because there was no going backwards. Absolutely no getting it out of the hole backwards. It was one of those things that it's forward and nothing. Maybe we can get back down there now and head back towards those elephants. I don't know if you can really see from the camera where the vehicle, I don't think you can really tell sometimes how steep it is we climb up or go down, but it can be quite nerve-wracking sometimes. But fortunately, knowing the capabilities of the vehicle and sticking to the one basic rule of four-wheel drive operation: as slow as possible, as fast as necessary. A sapper fan. Who knows, maybe the Ellies have moved down. Okay, somewhere here. We didn't come down too far down the riverbed. We only went about 100 yards or so after we saw them to come into the riverbed. Most of them looked like they were coming to the riverbed. There isn't much of a gap between here and the road, but it is very, very dense vegetation. Could be that the Ellies are just stuck in there feeding. A lot of animals, I think, because of the temperature change, the changing conditions, one of the reasons.
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back in the vehicle with us.
Swallowtail. This is the under of the wings. very large. It's often very difficult to see it. And here is be a hole that I can't see. Like that one. There's an elephant coming into the riverbed now, in front of us. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah, I'm good. No problem.
Sitting on a horse that decided to suddenly stop. So the ellies must have moved a little bit further north out of the river on the bank, and now they're starting to cross almost exactly where we came in. If we'd stayed with that buffalo in the wallow, we would have seen them. There's a little one coming into the river now. Another little one. Let's just stop and watch them. Two little ones now, Mom. We can't get up here, that's for sure. We'll have to carry on. I think it might be the one glimpse that we get again. There she goes. Heading up towards Mumba Road, maybe. Maybe let's try this little angle instead of going through the branches. Just so I'm on the bank. Morning, children. Where's your mother? Playing, those children. Nice little open area there. If I could only get through to there. Having a shoving match. Be nice if I can get to see them a bit better. One of the cars still in the bush. Don't want to go. I think the bigger one is being a little bit soft on this little one. Playtime for elephants. Mind the eye. Cheeky little thing. And move past this wattle. Crunch. They're all going into rather thick bush again. Low sickle bush. Beautiful big dead leadwoods. There's a bigger elephant now come to break up this little play fight. Spoil sport. Can elephants bite each other, Tammy? They can, actually. Trunks and tails, and maybe ears. They're known to bite each other, yes. Pity most of the fun is happening behind the trees. Wish I could just get into the little open grassland patch where they are. Okay, copy. Do you think they can have a look at the game drive radio that's in Jigga? It is out of the. It's disconnected. Okay. Well, as they all move off, so are we. Going to have to find our way back to reality. It's little back to roads and camps and things. We're going to go the other side of what. Funny noises. Okay, I was hoping that maybe the guys could have trees up there with Jigga and do it at the time. This is gonna probably take a try or two. Let's see how I thought after the Land Cruisers had damaged that crossing a while ago that maybe it wouldn't be so easy. But is a landy. I'm just gonna pop in and see this buffalo. The elephant would have come past the mud wallow where the buffalo has been. Looks like he might have gone. No, he's here. He's moved, turned around. I think he's fine. He's just lying down. If he's lying, see, if he was standing up, it would be a different story. So it's probably that he got up when the elephants came by and then moved because he thought they might have wanted something in the wallow. But he's lying down, so he's out of that. There's nothing wrong with him. If he was standing up in his legs, then it might have been a different story. But these little mud wallows we have are never that deep that animals get stuck in them. There's some places where there are thousands of elephants and buffaloes and things, and you get these clay patches that are in some of the major rivers when the rivers start drying up in the dry season. The river initially was so deep and the clay layer is so thick that, as I said, even adult elephant can find themselves stuck in those clay pits. And there's no getting an elephant out of the clay like that. Not in the middle of wilderness areas where you can't even get vehicles. Where I've seen things when I've been on foot because I'm on walking safari, hard roads and any access. And unfortunately they die. Sometimes I've seen an elephant stuck that has been in the throes of death. I've only ever experienced elephant carcasses and dead elephant, but it would be heartbreaking. An elephant stuck in the mud, or I suppose even a buffalo. Often buffalo stuck in the mud, and there's not much one can do. You got to think about it. You try and put a rope on the animal and try and pull it out. You can probably accomplish that. Then what you've got is you've got to react to the animal. When I say mad, I mean angry. The animal with a rope around its horns or somewhere around its body. How then do you get the rope of the animal? Yeah, they're alive. In the rivers, crocodiles even that come and feed on the carcasses. So a little bit of excitement at the end of our drive. Hope you enjoyed your evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Our wonderful blue and green place. Thanks for joining us. My name is Mark. Andrew's on camera. I think we might have a different presenter this afternoon. I think maybe Scott might be out. We'll see if we can get up and running. See how that works out for us. Otherwise, as I say, and from all of us, love you lots. Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Could just maybe get a minute to see. I don't know if we'll get to the dam in time.